Alright, so do you own a Ford fucking Ranger and the door handles are really loose? Like you gotta pull them way up to get it to open, you know, like yanking on it and shit. So this is how you fix that. Ignore the super dusty shit, it's a work truck. But take the door panel off, fold your little insulation thingy back out of your way. Get your flashlight, it's gotta be Milwaukee. Any other flashlight won't work. Boom! Up in here is your door handle. So now on this door handle, you've got these little slots here and back here. And you see the rod going through that one. These things are identical on both ends. This rod goes through here, and at one point in time, there's even tape on that one. There's a plastic sleeve that kind of sits in there to help take up the slack in this door handle, and they wear out over time, and now you've got this big wallered out hole and that linkage going through it. Now, that wasn't a joke, so don't take it that way. But it just gets wallowed out, so you got to tighten it back up. And to do this, I normally take a small bolt. This is just what I had. It's one of those Torx bits. And this one was I don't remember what size this was, but it was small. It's like an 8 mil. And then I've got one of those locking nuts on the back side. That's got the little rubber collar in it. So you put that through the top and tighten it down. That way, so when you lift the handle, as soon as you start to lift the handle, that linkage moves. Before that rod right there could slide up before it made contact. Now it's an immediate catch. And what that translates to, as soon as you grab the door handle, boom, look at that. It's open. So you just barely lift on it. It still closes good and tight, but boom, and it's open. Before you had to like pop on it. Now just boop, boop. Doesn't get any easier than that. If you look around your shop like mine, I'm sure you can find a random freaking bolt to put in it. Zip ties don't work that well. Use something like a bolt. Boop. Problemo solved. And that was the final thing to do on this Ranger. It's just got to put that door panel back on. And we can send that bad boy to the car lot. It's ready to be sold. And I got a cool ass looking little hat with ears on it. Nice filter. Thanks for watching. 2003 Ford Explorer. 4-wheel drive with the 4-liter V6. Any guesses? Just like Patina in Politics said, we'll give you a second. And for those of you who said transmission, you are right. The timing chains are not rattling yet. It is the transmission. This is the second replacement transmission this vehicle has had. The first replacement transmission was given problems, and then they had it replaced again. The company that built the transmission said, sure, they'll send them another one. So they put another transmission in it. And now this transmission's acting weird. Takes a second to go into gear. You come to a stop. It doesn't want to take off. The pump's whining really bad. Dad just drained the fluid out of it. That's all the fluid that came out of that transmission right there. And in the pan, I don't know if you can see all the little shiny sparklies down in there. That's not glitter, folks. That's metal shavings. So I'm starting to wonder if they flushed out the coolers when they installed the new transmissions, or if they even put enough fluid in it. And there's some of the metal right there on that magnet. 2001 Mazda Millennia. This has the 2.5 V6. It is a 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 6-cylinder in it. We're doing a knock sensor, right? Sounds easy enough. You just remove the air box and the battery and about 4 million coolant lines, and then the throttle body and the gear shifter linkage, and then the lower radiator hose and
ground wires.
All the ground wires, 3,802 vacuum hoses. That's just on the back. Then you take the intake loose, fold it up. Oh, you can't do that until you take the EGR pipe off the back of the intake manifold that goes to the rear cylinder head and pull out all the spark plug tubes on the back of the engine, because they're like half a mile long because they have to go through the intake. Once you get all of that off, you think you're home free, but no, because you got to take the fuel line loose from the rail to get the intake to fold up far enough. And then once you've done that, this coolant crossover pipe that goes from the stupid thermostat housing across the inside of the valley To the other side where the water pump sits down in there, you have to get it off, and it's never been off in 32.5 million years, so that O-ring's seized, and no amount of crawl or free-all is going to get it loose. You just got to pry and pray to God and go to church Sunday afterwards. Then you can get to that one little knock sensor right there. But it's a 24 millimeter, and you don't have a 24 millimeter socket with a slot in the side of it, so you got to cut the pigtail off the old one and use a wrench from the Great Depression to tighten the new one in there.
It's supposed to look like this.
Because it's supposed to look like this. A $20 part off of Rock Auto will cost you $400 in labor.
Look at that.
To get it off. And look, we've spent hours tearing this thing down.
2 minutes.
For not even 2 minutes to change that one little knock sensor. Now you've got to put new crossover coolant tube O-rings in it. You got to change a couple heater core hoses because they ripped intake gaskets if you want to do it the right way. And you got to pump all the water out, bleed the cooling system, put all this back together, readjust the gear shifter cable, put the EGR pipe back on the back with the new washer on it so that it doesn't leak. Put the battery and the bracket back in, 4 million little brackets that hold vacuum lines in. You're going to spend about an hour trying to figure out where every vacuum line goes because your all that is being stupid and can't pull it up for a millennia for some reason. All of that because your check engine light comes on sometimes for a knock sensor. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk and letting me blow off some steam. Don't ever replace a knock sensor in a Mazda Millennia if you can help it. Just leave the check engine light on. I mean, unless you just want to pay me. That's fine too. Yeah. Yeah. Same process, except no coolant tubes if you want to do valve covers. So have fun with that, Mazda!